This meeting is being recorded.
Ooh, so many sounds. Okay. I'm going to mute everyone and then you can play the playlist or do whatever. Play a different playlist. But if you have a block or 2 blocks or something, definitely grab that and a blanket and a pillow or something. We're going to do pigeon at the end. So you feel free to grab whatever you need at that point. But yeah, you can start the playlist whenever. I'm just gonna pin my screen. Feel free to be on or off camera, whatever feels good. Hold on. Cool. Okay. And then we're gonna start on our backs with something very fun. So I'm just gonna show you this and I'm gonna turn around, but you're gonna want to be long ways on your mat so that your feet are like here. But you're gonna sit up with your feet in front of you like this. I bet a bunch of us have done this before. And then you're gonna bring your arms out. You're gonna turn your thumbs down and you're gonna interlace your hands behind you. And then you're gonna have your feet in front of you and lower yourself onto the ground. And you're gonna say ow, and that's okay. But try to get your thumbs right up into your shoulder blades. And see if as you keep breathing and begin to notice your breath, your shoulders can try to just lower down to the floor even more. And then if this feels good, you can always lengthen out your legs and that'll just give you a little bit more sensation in your shoulders. And you can close your eyes here. Just begin to notice your breath. Notice if it's a little bit sharp as we do something that has a lot of sensation in our shoulders. And as you breathe, see if you can roll your shoulders down and back a little bit more. This is really good for all of us that sit on computers hunched over every single day. I told someone to do this every day because they had tight shoulders and they listened, which was shocking but amazing. And he's like, Dana, my shoulders feel so wonderful now. And I'm like, the power of repetition and time. So you can do this every day. Start of your day, end of your day. You can sleep like this. I wouldn't do that though. But yeah, take a few more breaths. Just focusing on your inhale and focusing on your exhale. And see if as we've laid here for a little bit more time, they've gotten a little bit deeper. But no need to manipulate your breath. Take 3 more inhales and exhales. At your own pace, there's no rush. And once you've finished your 3rd exhale, you're going to slightly lift your butt up just enough to let your arms come out and do that as slow as you need. Then you're going to just let your palms press down on the ground, let your shoulders drop once again in case there was some tension there after letting them open. And then once the sensation or tingling or anything goes away, you're going to hook your thumbs and then lift them up overhead so that the tops of your hands are overhead on the floor. You're going to lengthen out your legs and just point your toes and take a few little stretches with your thumbs. So almost like you're doing TikToks as if we were like going right to left when you're standing, but you're just on the ground, kind of like a wake up stretch. Cool. And then we're going to do a weird thing, but on your next inhale, just roll yourself over onto your right side body and see if you can balance there, which like is weirdly an ab exercise, but you can do it. Take 1 breath here and see if you can lengthen a little bit more. And then exhale, bring yourself back to center. You can give yourself a few more little TikToks. And then try the same thing to the left. So you can inhale, you can give yourself a little momentum with that top leg. but your left ear can just rest on your left bicep and you can just lengthen yourself out. So getting super, super long, like you're stretching, silly putty or something. And then come back to center and just to try it again, because doing something a second time gives you more information. We'll go one more time to the right. One breath here. Exhale, come back to center. And one more time to the left. If you make sounds, great. One breath here, find your balance on your side. And then come back to center. Two more little tick-tocks, right and left. Then you can hug your knees in towards your chest and give your knees a little bit of a roll, circling them right to left. Nice. And then switching up that motion so that you're gonna rock yourself forward and back enough to bring yourself up into an all fours position. So you can cross one shin over the other and bring your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. From there, today, we don't need our right ankle, so your hands can come out about a palm print in front of where they are. If you want to bring your knees back too, you can just finagle yourself so that you're a little bit more at obtuse angles, as Kate Posh would say. And then from here, you're just going to bring your right arm back as you go back, swim it up and over, have it land on top of your left hand, then bring your hips back. So you're in this like weird child's pose like thing, but you should feel a nice stretch on your right side body. Once again, swim your right arm back up and over, place it on the right side and bring your hips back. Same thing, other side. As you come up, swim the left arm up and over, place it on top of your right hand, come back with your hips. And then same thing, swim it back again. And then come back to a normal child's pose. And then see if you can match one breath to movement, swimming in opposite sides, and you can stay back in your child's pose and almost look up underneath your right armpit or your left armpit, depending what side you were on. And then come back to center. And just keep going at your own pace, beginning to open up the side body and open up the shoulders. Yeah, and just do whatever feels good. You can pause anywhere. You can change up your legs if there's something else you want to try. Take a few more rounds, just really letting your shoulders open. You can follow your hand with your head and your eyes. But this is also the beginning, your time to be free and make your own creative choices. Take one more to either side, just so you're even, or wherever you are, just even yourself back up. And then we'll come out of these obtuse angles and find yourself in a normal all fours position. You can be slightly forward on your mat, because right away we're going to tuck our right toes, straighten out your right leg, and then take some pulses with your right heel. So you should kind of feel this in the back of your right calf. Yeah, my calves are always tight, so it's always a good one to do. On your next inhale, come back to having your shoulders above your wrists. Lift your right leg up so it's in line with your hip, and then lift your left arm out in front of you. Sorry, we're doing abs today. You're going to take 5 elbow to knees, so bringing your elbow to your knee as you exhale, and inhale, you can bring it back out. And you can see if you can listen to your exhales coming out your nose. You can root down with the top of the left foot as you go, and you can go as slow or as fast as you want until you finish your 5. I'm going to pretend I did 5. I can never count during yoga. Once you finish your 5, you'll place your left hand down underneath your left shoulder. You'll kickstand your left foot out a little bit if you need, then place the whole right sole of the foot down onto the ground and come into your side plank. Nice. I have a nice little mirror in front of me of this camera, knowing that I'm doing it wrong. Great. Right arm comes up. You can look up at your right fingertips. or you can reach your right arm up and over so that your chin comes into your armpit. Really lengthening out the right side body like we did on the floor, and then lift your right leg up so that it's in line with your hip again. Cool. See from this movement if you can guess what we're going to do later. If you can, good for you. Take one more cycle of breath here. As you exhale, swim the right hand only back down, and then let your knee tuck, or your right shin, I guess, tuck right behind your left knee. So like you could give your calf a massage, but instead we're going to come into another child's pose variation. Just sit your hips back. And then your arms can just come out in front of you. You can come on fingertips, do whatever. You can rock a little right and left here. If this hurts your knees at all, just come into a normal child's pose, but you should feel a really nice opening on your left calf here. Take one more cycle of breath. And as you exhale, come back up to your normal all fours position. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and we'll just take a few cats and cows to wash that out. If you want to flip your wrists, you can. So you can inhale as you arch and exhale as you round. Inhale as you arch, stick your butt out. Exhale as you round. And then take a few more rounds going as slow or as fast as you want to go. You can speed it up. We're already doing some fiery things. So if you want to take this time to slow it down, or if you want to do a few more with your wrists flipped, always super good for the typers within us. Yeah. Take this at whatever speed you're going at for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to your neutral spine, catch your breath, notice where you are, notice your breath, and then tuck your left toes behind you, straighten your left leg, and take pulses on the left leg. Yeah. Notice where the weight is in your hands. Do you have more weight on the pinky side of your hand? Are you pressing down with the stronger part, aka your thumbs and pointer fingers? Take one more pulse forward and back. Bring your shoulders back over your hands. Lift your left leg up so it's in line with your hip. And then once you feel balanced, you can lift your right arm out. So right arm is right out by your ear. And then from here, as you exhale, bring your elbow to your knee, little crunch. Inhale, come out straight. Yeah. And keep going. Take this for 5, whatever 5 means to you. 5 breaths. It's hard to talk and count at the same time, but one day I will learn. After you finish your 5, place your right hand back down. Let your left foot come all the way down to the floor. Kickstand your right leg out if you need and come into your side plank. Cool. So really pressing down with the outside of your left foot. Sorry, my back's to you, but won't be for long. And you can bring your left arm up and over if you did that on the other side, otherwise keep it straight up. And then once you feel very balanced, you can lift your left leg. And you can try changing your arm or changing your gaze and see how that affects your balance. And shaking. The shaking is a good thing. Take one more cycle of breath. As you exhale, place your left hand down and then come into that calf massage child's pose. So shin comes right up behind your right knee, and you can press back on your legs. Fingers can come to whatever. If you want to bring them out to the left or to the right to get a different type of side stretch, you can do that. If you did something fun on the other side, you can do that here too. Great. Take a few more cycles of breath. You can rock back and forth with your hips. Cool. On your next exhale, press yourself up. Come back to your all fours position. And this time you can flip your hands if you didn't do it the other time, and just take a few more cats and cows to rinse that all out again. Inhaling as you arch and exhaling as you round. And if you've never flipped your wrists before, you can just bring them out to 90 degrees so that your right fingertips are facing to the right, left fingertips are facing to the left. and your wrists get a nice little stretch. Pressing down with all 10 toes, taking this at a different speed than you did before if you want to switch it up. Same speed for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to your neutral spine. Make your hands face the normal way. Place them about a palm print in front of where they are, and we're going to come up into our first down dog. If you don't want to do a down dog, you can always just do some child's poses or whatever. But once you get to your down dog, pedal out your hips, bend your knees from right to pedal out your hips, pedal out your feet, bend your knees from right to left. Just give yourself a little bit of movement as if you're walking a dog for the first time in the morning. This is our first dog, so it doesn't need to be perfect or anything. Yoga is a practice, so our dogs are never perfect anyway. And take one more breath here before we find a little bit of visible stillness. But in each of your dogs, your hands are going to press down. Energy is going to shoot up the arms. It's going to shoot out your butt. And then it's going to rain back down your legs. Your knees are slightly bent. There's energy shooting out the heels. You have a nice little circuit of energy from the floor to the sky, back down to the floor. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then bring yourself forward and through to your plank. Cool. So just notice where your hands are, or if your feet or hands had to move. This is the measure for your dog. So you can take little rocks forward and back, or right to left. Notice where you are in space. One more cycle of breath in your plank. And as you exhale, bend your knees, stick your butt up, don't move your hands or your feet, and come into your dog. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. Exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. If you want, you can use your hand to move your foot so that your knee is right on top of your ankle. Place your back knee down, untuck the back toes, and then reach your arms forward, out, and up. Once you get up, you can hook your thumbs again, and then take those little tick-tocks like we did in the beginning. Yeah. And notice what your front knee is doing. You can probably bring it a little bit more forward so that you get a really nice long angle from your right knee all the way down to your left foot. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then place your hands back down, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and simply just step your left foot up to meet your right. So in our first forward fold, feet are hips width distance. You can measure that out by putting 2 fists in between your arches, and then let your head just hang. Slight bend in the knees again. A bend gives you more ability and leverage to stand on 2 feet. On your next inhale, you're just going to begin to slowly roll yourself up to stand. Knees stay slightly bent, shoulders stack on top of your torso, head stacks on top of your shoulders. And once you get to the top, then you can shake it out, but there's no rush. So if you're still rolling, that's great. Just give yourself a little bit of a shake. Find your feet back underneath you. And then we're going to do something that Grace and I would do in our court and dance classes. So if you're like, what's happening? Don't worry, we felt that way at one point in our lives too. So you're going to have a slight bend in your knees, and you're going to just lift your arms up to the sky. And as if you're dropping like super heavy bags of potatoes or something, you're going to swing your arms down, let your torso come down, interlace your hands behind you, and then come into a forward fold with your hands interlaced. Then you're going to let that go and come back up. And you can do this as slow or as fast as you want to. You can do the same interlace every time because we're going to do this on the other side. But just really feel like you're letting something super heavy go every time that you do a little swing and come and interlace your hands. And 5 is going to be the number of the day. So once you do 5, then you can stop. Take one more wherever you are. And then we'll just end in our forward fold. So you can just swing yourself back down and then just let yourself hang over your legs. Should feel a little bit cathartic. If it didn't, try to do something different the next time we do it to make it feel like you're letting something unnecessary go. And then slowly begin to walk yourself back into your downward facing dog. Cool. Bend your knees, stick your butt up. Inhale this time, bring your body forward and through to a plank pose, but then gently let your hips drop so you're in a tuck-toed up dog. Exhale, bend your knees, stick your butt up, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up, down dog split. Exhale, step your left foot to your left thumb. Find your low lunge, knee on top of ankle, place the back knee down, untuck the back toes. Great, and then reach your arms forward, out and up. Find the opposite hooked thumb on top. So wherever you are, hook the other one in front of it. Reach your fingertips up and then take your TikToks. And see if as you TikTok, you can press your hips a little bit more forward so you can get that really long angle. Yeah, nice. Your torso is right above your hips. Take one more cycle of breath. As you exhale, place your fingertips back down, tuck your toes, lift your knee, hop your left right foot up to meet your left. Bring your forward fold again. Let everything hang. If you want to grab for the backs of your calves and then hug your chest in, if you want to just let your arms hang in front of you, you can take a different arm variation. One more cycle of breath, and as you exhale, roll yourself up super slowly again. Noticing how you're standing on each toe, each part of your foot, until you get to the top, and then you get a little shake out to roll everything around, fix your clothes, whatever you need. Find yourself on your 2 feet again. If you want to try this with a wider stance this time, you can. You're just going to do the same thing we did before. Drop those potato bags. So inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, just let it all drop. This time, interlace your hands and let them hang over you with the opposite interlacing. And then let them drop and come back up. And exhale, interlace the weird way, and come back up. And keep your knees super bent this whole time. It doesn't matter how far down you go, or how fast you go, or how slow you go. Just do what feels good. Let something else go that you really don't need. Mentally, emotionally, physically. Cool. And once you finish your 5, then you can just stay in your forward fold. Amazing that there's no rush. It's the beginning of the year, but if there's already something in 2022 that's not serving you, throw it out. Nice. Take one more cycle of breath in your forward fold. And step yourself back to your downward facing dog. Place your knees down. Bring your knees and feet together. Keep your toes tucked. And then sit yourself back on your heels. Once you're back here, make sure that you're untucking your toes. You can move your butt out or something. If this feels like way too much, you can always put a block underneath your knees so that the angle is not as bad. But after you do this time and time again, it'll feel really good. Great. So we just did a lot of movements. You can just let your hands come down on your thighs. You can even close your eyes. I can't think of anything else that rhymes with that, so that was that. And then just find your breath again. Notice how you're breathing. And going with the theme of 5, if you need to open your eyes to look at this, we're just going to do some shoulder flossing. So you're going to interlace your hands in front of you, press them out in front of you, reach them up overhead, and then take 5 circles to the right with that interlacing. And your knees stay together. Yeah, feet stay together. See if you can get your heels even closer together. And once you've finished your 5, switch the interlacing and then circle to the left direction. Yeah, so your arms and shoulders are behind you. Your torso's right above your hips. Yeah, my ribs are kind of sticking out, but see if you can keep your ribs from arching. Your chin is level to the ground. Once you finished your 5, then you can let your arms go. Your hands can come down. Untuck the toes, but try not to pat them out. You're going to sit back on your heels. And then if you have blocks on either side, you can use them. But otherwise, you can have your fingertips down on the ground and then just rock back and lift your knees up. So similarly, how we flip our wrists and get both sides. This gets both sides of our ankles and our feet. And if we're hiking or biking or doing any sort of sport or walking, our feet use a lot and they need to be opened up. We'll take one more rock. And then whenever you're ready, you'll come back to your downward facing dog. Great. Pedal it out, find your dog, take a nice breath, inhaling, knees slightly bent, stick the butt up. Exhale, let the energy fall down your legs. Inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. Exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. From here, really make sure that your legs are on train track. So if you need to move your right foot to the right, your left foot to the left, spin the whole left foot down to the ground. See if you can find a connection between your thigh and your chest and see if you can lift your arms off the floor. That means you're really in your legs, which is a great thing. The whole sole of your back foot is on the ground. Then you're going to reach your arms forward, out and up. So we're coming into warrior 1. Immediately when you stand up, you're going to straighten your legs and notice if your hips are both facing the front. If they aren't, you can either shorten your stance or widen your stance so that your hips have more space to face the front of whatever space you're in. Bend back into your right knee. You want a 90-degree angle with your right knee. Take one more cycle of breath in your warrior 1, pressing down with the outer side of your left foot. And then keeping your weight in your right leg, see if you can lift your left knee up and come to balance on your right leg. If you fall, whatever. I've done this a bunch of times falling. And then place your left foot down. Wiggle it out. Inhale, reach the arms up, press palms together overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Take a breath here. If your block is in a super weird spot where you can't access it, do something strange to grab it. You're going to place your block on the outside of your left foot. And from here, step your right foot back. So it's kind of where your left foot was before. You're setting up for the same stance. You're kind of in a lunge. Your left hand's going to come on top of your left block. And then you're going to straighten by pressing down into the front of the left foot. And then reach your arm up to the sky. Coming into triangle. Cool. So once you're in triangle, roll your shoulders down and back. Yeah, your shoulders are on top of one another. You can look up, you can look straight ahead, you can look down, whatever feels best on your neck. Take a few more cycles of breath here, just noticing what it's like to be in this position on your legs. I always have a slight bend in both knees, just so that I'm not locking out my knees. On your next exhale, using the energy as if someone's pulling up your right fingertips, you're going to press down with your legs and reach yourself up to stand. Turn in your left toes, turn out your right toes, and come into warrior 2 facing the back of your mat. So you want your right knee right on top of your left, right knee on top of right ankle. Arms are shooting out, torso is right on top of your hips. You can gaze out over your right middle finger. Take 2 more breaths here. Energy shooting out down the outer side of the left leg out into the floor with your left foot. And after your second exhale, straighten both legs. Reach your right arm up and over, lean back. And then as you're leaning back, turn in your right toes and then keep going to the left side and come into a wide-legged forward fold. Once you're here, you can gently sway your torso right to left. Yeah. Let your head super duper hang. You can maneuver your feet so that your toes are in the same line, parallel to the front of the mat. Then you're gonna find your left hand on top of your right shin or right ankle. Your right fingertips are gonna come right out in front of your face, so you're in this like X crossing position. Sorry if that looks confusing. And then as you bend into your left elbow a little more, make sure you have a nice little bend in your knees. You're gonna twist up underneath your right armpit. And if that feels good, then you can walk your right fingertips all the way up and over to the left. It's like a thread the needle, but stranger. Take a few more breaths here. Imagine that your hips are pressing in, or your butt bones are pressing into a wall behind you so they're even. Take one more cycle of breath. Walk your right fingertips back in towards your face. Let it go. Shake out your head, yes and no. Then grab for your left ankle with your right hand. Have your left fingertips in front of your face. Walk them out in front of you. And then once you're set up in that cross, you can twist underneath your left armpit and walk your left fingertips up and over to the right. Yeah. You can bend as much into your right elbow as you want. You can try straightening it. You can try a lot of things. Just keep breathing. Exhaling as you create more space for your breath. As we open up our shoulders, we open up our armpits, which gives us more space to breathe within our lungs. Our armpits and our arms are like the portals to our lungs. So creating more space in our joints there, create more space for us to breathe. Walk your left fingertips back towards your face. Let your right arm go, shake it out. Walk your hands back to the front of your mat. So you'll probably look like you're in a left low lunge for a bit, and then step yourself back to your downward facing dog. If you want to take an up dog, down dog, you can. Otherwise, place your knees down as wide as the mat, big toes touch. Take a few moments in a child's pose. Great. Letting your forehead rest. So good. Take one more breath here. As you exhale, press your hands down and bring yourself back up into your downward facing dog. Lucky for us, we have two legs. Inhale, lift your left arm up. Left arm, left leg, but if you lifted your left arm, that must have been fun. So left leg comes up, left foot, left thumb. Cool, same thing as the other side. Spin the sole of the right foot down. You could even walk it in, probably like 5 to 10 centimeters or some whatever inches. And then you can make sure that your legs are on train tracks. Once you're there, reach your arms forward, up and up. Warrior one on this side. Immediately straighten your leg. Make sure that your hips are facing straight out in front of you. So if you had two headlights on a car, they would be parallel, and then bend back into your left knee. You can fidget yourself around. Nothing is set in stone here. Find your breath. Make sure you have a 90-degree angle with your left knee on top of your left ankle. Maybe you're a little bit more wobbly on this side, that's fine. And on your next exhale, when you're ready, you'll bring your right knee towards your chest, and your arms can do whatever to keep you the most balance if you kept them up. Amazing. Place your right foot down next to your left. Shake it out. Inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, forward fold. I think our blocks are in a more accessible position right now. So find your block on the highest height outside your right foot. And if you don't have a block, you can always place your right hand on your shin for a triangle. Step your left foot back behind you. Your left toes are on that 45-degree angle. Left side of the foot is pressing down. Having your right hand on the block, press down with the front of your right foot. Lift yourself up into triangle. Chest opens to the left. Left hip is trying to wrap down. It won't actually, just because of the position that we're in, but that's the idea you're going for. Gaze can be up to the front or down. Looks so good, everyone. Take a few more breaths in our triangle, noticing what this feels like. And then as if someone's pulling your left fingertips, you're gonna press down with your legs and reach your left arm up, come up to stand, right toes turn in, left toes turn out. You can adjust your stance and then bend into the left knee, coming into warrior two on this side. I like to think of my left heel bisecting the middle of my right foot. Torso is right on top of your hips. Arms are shooting out from your shoulders, gazing over that left middle finger as if you're shooting an arrow at something right in front of you. Really good. Shoulders are down and back. Relaxed but strong. One more breath. As you exhale, lift, straighten your left leg, lift your left arm up and back. Right fingertips can come down the right leg. And then as you turn your left toes in, keep going, keep going, keep going to the right. Wide-legged straddle. I'm turning around so my butt is not facing you. But from here, let everything go. Shake your head, yes and no. Slight bend in your knees. And then this time, you're gonna grab for the front of your right shin or ankle with your right hand. And then at the same time, with your left hand on your right shin or ankle. I don't know if I said that right, but cross your arms. So that left hand is on right side, right hand on left side. Cool. So you probably have to move in your legs a little bit, but then once you're got the grip, you can length or separate them so that your arms are taut. Cool. So from here, whichever arm is on top, which should be your left arm, you're going to bend into your knees, bend into your elbows a little bit, and then just bring your head underneath. And this might be a lot. So if that feels like a lot, you can just do what we did before, or just go as much as you can. But yeah, see if you can twist up and under. And then breathe into it, noticing how this stretch gets even further down your back. One more cycle of breath. Come back to center. Reach your right arm up, swim it so it crosses over. Same thing, other side, bend the knees, and then just tuck your head underneath your armpit and twist under. Yeah. If that really feels weird, you can always just do what we did before. Great, take a few more breaths here, noticing how this side differs from the other side. Breathing into low belly. And then let yourself undo that. Let your arms go. Shake yes and no with your head. Cool. And then once again, or this time, whichever was the front of your mat normally, just walk your hands back in that direction. I don't know if it'll be the right or left side. And then come back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, up dog if you want. Exhale, down dog. Cool. One more time. Inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. Exhale, step your right foot to your right thumb. Great. So spin the whole sole of the back foot down. You're coming into a warrior one on this side again. So we're doing it for the second time. See what it's like to do it again. You should know your setup a little bit more now. Get yourself there. Take one more cycle of breath. And as you exhale, come and balance on your right foot again. This time, you're going to place your left foot down and then immediately step your right foot back and come into your triangle this way. So grab your block and come into triangle. Yeah. Great. So we're in triangle. We know this feeling. Once you've set up, just use your block. And if you don't have a block, you can always use the floor. You're going to bring your block about a foot or like 20 centimeters out in front of you, then into the left leg, and then reach your right leg up, coming into half moon. Cool. Find your balance here. Once again, you can look down in front of you or up. We'll stay here for a little bit. So if you fall out of it, just come back into it. If you want to come out of it, shake it out and then come back into it. It's just a practice, so it's not serious. You can even smile. Whoops. We all fall like Humpty Dumpty. Okay, take one more cycle of breath in whatever variation that you're taking of this. And then you can swim your right arm over, let your right foot come to your forward fold, and then just shake everything out. So you might feel a little bit of something in your arm or your leg or your shoulder. You can give it a little massage where you can just shake it out. As you exhale, step yourself back to your downward facing dog one more time. If you want to take an up dog or a down dog, you want to take up dog to down dog, you can. Otherwise, stay in your down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, step your left foot to your left thumb. Spin the whole sole of the back foot down, bend into your left knee, and come into your warrior one. Amazing. Find your stance. Notice how the side differs from the other side. Notice what it's like to do it the second time. Arms reaching up to the sky. And on your next exhale, you'll bring yourself forward and balance on your left foot. Right knee comes up, arms can stay up. And then place your right foot down. Line your block and move it to the outside of the right foot. Reach up again, step your left foot back, and then come into your triangle this way. So this time it's like opening a flower instead of like opening a present. I don't know, that was a weird analogy. Pretend I didn't say that. Anyway, you're in your triangle. Energy is pressing down through the front foot, shoulders on top of one another. And when you're ready, you can get a little bendy into the front knee, bring your block about a foot, 20 centimeters out in front of you, and come into your half moon. And notice how your balance is on this side compared to the other side. I like keeping my leg that's lifted flexed, but you could also try pointing it. Maybe a slight bend in your right knee. Come in and out of it as you please. You can try a different gaze and see how the balance changes. Really good. Take one more cycle of breath. Really lengthening everything out before you let your arms swim over, foot comes down to the ground. Give yourself a little shake and step yourself back to your downward facing dog. Amazing. Take an up dog and a down dog if you want. Otherwise, inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. Exhale, bend the knee, open up the hip. You know where we're going, so you can also smile about that. You can take a little circle with your ankle and your knee. And then when you're ready, bring your knee behind your wrist to come into pigeon. And this is where a pillow or block or blanket would be amazing. Put anything you need up underneath your butt and your pelvis so that the floor is raised to you. Your knees all over on the right side. Doesn't need to be a super parallel angle. You lengthen up and then you can come down. And if you have blocks, you can always place one under your chest and one underneath your forehead. Elbows can come out wide, so it's like you're making a diamond with your arms, and then let everything just be. So up until this moment, we're doing a lot of doing and making a lot of effort. So here, really set yourself up if you need to grab a pillow or something else to just let everything relax. As you exhale, you should feel a little bit more tension being released from somewhere. You can imagine that someone's pressing on your right shoulder and your left hip at the same time, spreading that out. And pressing on your left shoulder and your right hip at the same time, spreading that out. So there's so much surface area being created on your back, as if you're melting into the floor. Take a few more breaths here. We'll take our number 5. You can rock your hips from right to left a little bit. You can even try pressing down with the right shin and imagine you're pulling your right knee back. Take one more cycle of breath. And then begin to walk your hands back up. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and step yourself back into your downward facing dog. You can pedal it out. You can take an up dog to a down dog. Whatever feels good. And then lift your left leg up, bend the knee, open up the hip, take some circles with your ankle and your knee. And then bring your left knee behind your left wrist for pigeon on the other side. And see if you need more blankets or pillows underneath your pelvis. Untuck the back toes, set yourself up. Do whatever you did on the other side just to create some symmetry. And then let your chest come over your shin, elbows come wide, hands come into a diamond shape. And if you have a bunch of pillows, you can even pull a pillow up underneath your chest. So it's like you get to take a nap. Just let everything go. Noticing speed of your breath here. Seeing if you can make your breath a little bit audible. So it's like you're listening to the waves of your breath. You can try spreading out your right shoulder from your left hip and left shoulder to right hip. Really letting everything melt over the legs. A really good stretch for your hips and your kidneys. Give your kidneys a moment to recharge. They do a lot for us, especially in the winter. Take 5 more breaths. If your forehead's on something, you can always give it a little massage. And after you've finished your 5th breath, there's absolutely no rush, so breathe as slow as you want to. You're gonna press yourself up with your hands, move the props away, and come into your last downward facing dog. So take anything that you want here that maybe you didn't get to do yet. I don't know what that would be, but we're all very creative in our own ways to do anything. Then when you're ready, you can place your knees down onto the ground. And however you want to sit, I'm going to sit in Virasana. So I'm going to find a block and I'm going to use this blanket because I like it. I'm going to place the block in between my heels and sit back on it, but you can also sit cross-legged up on a pillow or anything, whatever feels good to you for how you want to sit. We're just going to do some breath work or pranayama, and then we'll be good to go. So set yourself up, sitting up tall. However you're sitting, you can pull out your knees, you can pull out your butt so that you really have the whole surface area pressing down on whatever you're sitting on. And then from here, we're going to take a calming breath, alternate nostril breathing. As you can look at me for the first round, but then you can definitely close your eyes. You can go a little bit more inward for this one. You're going to find your right thumb on your right nostril and your right forefinger on your left nostril. I like putting my pointer finger, my middle finger in between my eyebrows and my third eye. And then as we breathe, we're just going to press down on one nostril so we can only breathe through one at a time. So starting with pressing down on your right nostril with your right thumb, you're going to inhale through your left nostril and your mouth stays closed the whole time. Press down on both nostrils for a second, and then exhale, breathe out only the right nostril. Inhale only the right nostril. Hold both. Exhale out only the left nostril. Inhale only the left nostril. Hold both. Exhale, breathe out only the right nostril. Inhale only the right. Hold. Exhale out only the left. And take 10 more rounds on your own time. Keeping your mouth closed. Breathing in as fully as you can. And exhaling to really get to empty. Seeing if you can listen to your breath, making it as audible as possible. And seeing as if you keep going, if the breath can get longer, fuller. This really helps calm the nervous system. Something super good to do if you're ever feeling anxious at any point of the day. After you've finished your 10th round, you can just let your right hand come face down on your right thigh. Coming back to your normal breath, eyes can stay closed, gaze can stay soft. And then your options for your final pose are to stay here with your eyes closed in a meditative seat. Or if you want to try the shoulder opener that we did in the beginning again to see how your body can change in an hour, you can do that too. So do whichever one feels good for you today. And whatever you choose, really focus on your breath. Focus on the sensations in your body, what parts are touching the floor, what parts aren't touching the floor. See if you can notice the little bits of tension that are being held anywhere. And if you're sitting in a meditative seat, I know it might get a little bit tough just to sit. So one thing that I really like doing when I'm meditating is I imagine that there is a big silver ball in front of me that I'm staring at. But it's a little bit magical because there's energy around the ball. Or there's little sparks or anything. But if your eyes are both focused on this imaginary shiny thing that's in front of you, you can really focus on what's happening with that and your breath, and it keeps you in the moment and not focused on a to-do list or anything. And even if you're lying on your back with the shoulder opener, you can imagine that too. where you can really just notice how your body is lying on the floor. As you're imagining whatever is in front of you, you can use this time to set an intention for the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the 360, just kidding, that's way too much math to do right now, but however many more days left in the year they are. Setting an intention, remembering it, embodying it. Following that shiny bright light in front of you, staying on your breath, noticing how you're breathing. We'll sit in silence for a few more moments. Gaze is still soft wherever you are. If you're on your back, once again, place your feet down on the ground, lift your hips up just enough. Let your arms gently come out and press your hands down onto the floor. Whenever all of this sensation goes away, you can roll over onto either side to come into a fetal position, keeping your gaze soft still. You can meet us up in a seat. If you're still sitting there, focusing on your intention, focusing on your bright light, staying in the moment, in your body at this time. Notice if you're sitting up tall, try not to sink back into your hips. I know we've been sitting for many minutes. And find your breath here. If you were just on the ground, notice how you're breathing sitting up with your eyes closed. And you can find one hand on your low belly and one hand on your heart. And notice how you're breathing into your hands. Notice how your belly begins the breath and it travels up your torso all the way up to your neck and your sternum. And then as you exhale, it just lets everything deflate. Take one more breath just like that, inhaling from the low belly all the way up. And then exhale, let it all just sigh down. Bring your palms to press at the center of your chest, giving yourself a lot of gratitude for taking the time today to move your body, and gratitude to the join of the body and your mind. So as we do yoga, we really stay present with our mind and body, so one won't wander off and lead the other astray, which is very good practice for as we are living our daily lives to really listen to the connection of our mind and body. Taking that with you through the rest of your day. We'll bring our thumb knuckles up in between our eyebrows to third eye center and end practice with a final bow. Thank you, guys. I'm gonna stop recording.